Zdravo, and welcome to the Win, Make, Give podcast. Chad Hyams here, not coming to you from Croatia. No, I'm coming to you from my home in Florida. Yep, Bob, that's how you say hello in Croatia. Zdravo.
That's you. That's the first one that I didn't have any idea where you were at on the map, Chad. So,
well, we did recently talk with someone, and the country came up, so I decided to go that way. Check it out. I will also tell you, in Slovenia, it is said the same way. My favorite cyclist, Tadej Pogačar, is from Slovenia. So now if I ever bump into the kid, I'll know how to say hello to him as we're getting ready for the cycle season to really take off with the Tour of Italy, or the Giro d'Italia, coming up here shortly.
I thought the Tour of Italy is like the down at my local restaurants where I go and I get pasta and pizza and raviolis.
Yes, that is and unlimited bread and salad and all that kind of stuff, right? Yeah, that's their Tour of Italy. The Giro d'Italia is the first of the three major tours in cycling world. Not what we're here to talk about today, Bob, but how's things going in Bob's world?
Wait, Italy, I mean, obviously the Tour de France. What's number 3?
It is called the Vuelta de España, which is the Tour of Spain.
Sure.
Okay. Good for you for knowing at least one of the three.
Well, I mean, come on. If you don't know,
everybody knows the Tour de France, right?
Yeah. I would have been able to tell you Italy was one, but okay.
Now you know you've learned something new today.
I have. All right, I'm done.
What's going on in Bob Stewart's world?
That's all. I'm done. I'm going to bed, man. One thing a day. That's all I can do.
We're done with Bob, everybody. See you later. No, Bob, we've had, I want to give a shout out to some of our listeners who have been sharing some of our episodes socially. I don't know if you've seen it. I know they've tagged you in the post. They've tagged me in the post. And I want to thank our listeners that are out there that are still saying, people, you got to be listening to this stuff, right? That we're still bringing stuff to them that's still helpful. Hey, nothing's new under the sun, right? I mean, so a lot of the stuff maybe we talked about in season 1, we're just coming at it from a different angle here. And whatever season we're in, I think we're still officially in 4, even though we've probably done enough that we could be in 5 by now. And I just want to thank our audience members. We don't have the interaction as much in the Facebook group, but it's there. Win, Make, Give. Come find us. I will get better at posting questions if you'll answer. Yeah, we really want to thank you when you find an episode that strikes home with you, to share it on the social networks with your friends, hopefully texting it out to those people saying, hey, check this out. Because the way we grow in audience and keep bringing you things with some great guests and maybe that Ben Kinney guy to come back is you guys keep listening. So we thank you. We love you for it.
Chuck Gafford. I don't remember saying that quote, by the way. If I said that I should have, but I don't remember.
You probably said something like it, and Chuck just typed something way smarter than what you said.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
That's probably true. Okay, Bob. So we've shared multiple things. I mean, if people went back and listened recently, even just recently, right? We've talked about helping with kids. That's the one that Chuck just posted about, right? We've talked about some phrases that are going to help you grow recently. We've got some networking tips coming for you. We've talked about being a CEO. We've talked about bad habits. We've had some great interviews. What's going on today on the Win, Make, Give podcast, Bob?
I think today we're going to talk about your best friend Tony Robbins and some of the I don't know, just the advice, the habits, some daily habits in Tony Robbins' life that he credits as being really important to kind of a big life that he's built.
Okay, Bob, do you?
But you told me you have a Tony Robbins story or something?
Yeah, I have a Tony Robbins pissed me off story, so I can never listen really to Tony. Look, and this, I'll tell the story, but is there anybody in your life that has ever you're like, I can't watch a movie with that actor or actress in it because they've done something, or I saw something, or I can't read anything by that author because I know something. Is there anybody like that in your world?
So I will tell you, there was a little period of time, and I've gotten over it, where Gary Vaynerchuk was that. He's been on some stuff with us early in his career, and so sure. I was like a fan of his. And then one time I watched him talk about raising kids and what you should be doing with kids and this and that, and I was like, what does this guy know? He doesn't have kids. And it got under my skin, and I don't know. There was probably a good month or two where every time I saw his stuff, which is like everywhere around, I'm just like, skip, like, but I don't know. I got over it because I'm like, I've given people advice where I'm not in their shoes exactly,
Sure.
right? So I'm over it now.
Okay. Well, I am not. Tony, Tony, bro, you're a better man than me. Years and years and years ago, I have to go way back, Bob. Okay. I worked in Las Vegas. I was in the entertainment industry before I got into the real estate industry. And I worked behind the scenes, production stuff, lighting, the computer systems for the world's largest show at the time, which was Effects at the MGM. And Tony Robbins was doing one of his Tony Robbins things, right? His events, whatever.
Yep.
And he had bought out the MGM theater and he was presenting on the stage. And I was called in. I was one of the newer people at the time. So I was called in to work it. And I had to run a spotlight for this guy. Now, I don't know if you've ever run a spotlight. They're big, right? So your hands are full, okay? They're warm. And you're standing while you do it. It's very rare you can sit and run a spotlight. For 3 hours, Tony was on stage and never stopped moving. Like never. It was so, and I'm so, folks, it was so performance, right? What Tony was doing. He knew he had to be in this corner to say this. And then he'd walk across the front and he walked a triangle. So he would walk from downstage left, as it's your right, as close to the audience. He'd walk across the front of the stage, making some really deep, powerful point and hit the other side of the stage. Then he would walk upstage a little bit farther from you as he was talking about stuff towards the projector or whatever he had. And then he'd come back down to that corner. And then he'd hit the really heavy thing. And for 3 hours, Bob, I had to move the spotlight in a freaking triangle that I could not hear a word this guy was saying. The other spotlight operator and I were just on our headphone talking, this guy's got to stop. My nose is itchy. I mean, I can't even and since then, I can't not feel that every time a new Tony Robbins book comes out or someone says, hey, did you hear Tony on this? Or did you see this? I just can't do it. But today I'm overcoming it with your support, Bob Stewart. And I am going to help our audience learn from some of the message that Tony Robbins is currently sharing.
All right.
This is going to be a tough one for me. You know another way it's going to be a tough one for me? Tony's sharing the top 5. And you know how I feel about that, Bob Stewart.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, this is a really, really therapeutic day for you, Chad. This is going to be good. I feel like a breakthrough's on the horizon.
We'll see which way I break through on this. All right. So Tony's talking about the 5 daily habits that people who almost always get what they want in life have. So we all know that person where it just seems they always get everything. It always goes their way. It always works out for them. They always land on their feet. They're good at this. They're good at that. Whatever these things are, Bob, we all know somebody that it always seems to work out for. Tony says these are the 5 habits they usually have that you can rip off. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Give me number 1.
They prime their minds for success every morning. Tony Robbins calls it priming.
Priming.
Yeah. Yeah.
How many times do you hit snooze, Bob?
2.
Oh. Right? You already lost. You're not priming your mind in the morning. People are hitting that snooze button. You're immediately doing the exact opposite, folks.
I don't know if that's what he's talking about, is it?
One of the things he's talking about in there.
Yeah. Okay.
Because so many people, right? How many people are listening to this? And they hit snooze. They say, oh, I want to wake up at 6. So I'm going to set my alarm for 5:30 and I'm going to hit snooze twice and then I'll get up. It'll be 6 o'clock, right? Just sleep till 6 o'clock, folks, and wake up. Right? That's just silly. You're not helping yourself. You think you are. You're not. So I just want to get that out of the way, Bob. One of the things he's saying in priming their mind for success is that when your alarm goes off, get up and get after it. Okay. Now, dive into the other stuff Tony's talking about here.
Well, he's talking about just like literally priming your mind. It's some breathing exercises, Chad, some visualization. Like what's going to happen in my day? It's bringing some gratitude in. It's setting your mind up and pointing it at what that day is going to do for you.
Yeah. Folks, do you have a success list? Right? That's not a to-do list. We've talked about it here on the podcast before. That's taking your to-do list and turning it into priority, right? If I only did one thing on this list, what is that thing today that would bring me success that if I did only this? And how many of us have heard, oh, start your day thinking about some gratitude? So Bob, for people who are like priming and I don't know how to do all that, Bob, and if I meditate in the morning, I'm just going to fall back asleep and all that kind of, here's the challenge. Can you think about 2 things you are grateful for that you haven't thought about in the last week, right? Don't every day say, oh, I'm grateful for my kids or I'm grateful I have my house. Come up with something different every day, but think of 2 things you're grateful for that'll put your mind in a gratitude state, and then visualize success of your number one objective for the day. So if it's making calls to X number of people, visualize what it's going to feel like when you complete the calls. Visualize the success that's going to happen. If it's my workout that day, right? It's visualizing finishing the workout. If it's a date with your partner, visualize what it looks like so that you're having a great time on that date and making the most of it. But if every morning you can come up with 2 things you're grateful for that you haven't said in the last week, at least, and you can visualize success of your number one objective, that's priming your mind.
So I go in and out. Sometimes I'll have a whole week, Chad, where I'm like, I get up, I'm very like in tuned. I do hit the snooze button, but I spend some time in the morning, and then there'll be 2 or 3 days where I get out of the habit of it. Maybe it's because Carter came in and was like, Dad, get up, and we're just off and running, right? Or the days where I do this, I will tell you, I tend to perform better. I tend to have more focus throughout the day on that thing, Chad, like the thing that I know I need to get done.
And that's it. But look, we've talked about it many times. A lot of people have read The One Thing written by our friend Jay Papasan with Gary Keller, right? Where they talk about 66 days to make a habit. Bob, when you don't stick to it consistently, it's not going to become that habit, right? And making it that habit, maybe what you need to do is change where it goes in your routine. Right? Maybe you need to look at it and say, instead of the first thing that happens when I get out of bed is I'm doing my visualization, I'm doing my gratitude. Maybe it needs to be, I drop the kids off for school every morning and I pull over to that park that's right beside the school and I take 5 minutes in the car. And I don't worry about it being that first thing, but I'm still going to have the gratitude time and I'm still going to have the focus before I head off into my day. So audience, it doesn't have to be as soon as you fall out of bed. Figure out where this habit fits early in the day for you.
I feel like you're having a breakthrough, because even with the stress of this being about Tony Robbins, and I can see your hands moving around in the V shape, you're still having some good ideas here.
Well, thank you, right? Tony says, I'll quote Tony, right? Energy flows where attention goes. Energy flows where attention goes. So by having that gratitude and that visualization, where's our energy naturally going to flow? To the things we've just given that attention to. Folks, there's habit number 1. It's easy enough for us to all add it into ours. Bob, number 2?
I love number 2. I think that like this is literally the answer to everything. They take massive targeted action.
Yep.
Massive action, right? They do something insane. They make 1,000 phone calls into their business today. They send out 700 LinkedIn messages to find the director of design, like Ben Kinney did to find Josiah. Like they just, whatever that thing is, that's that number one focus, they go and they take massive action on it, Chad.
Yeah, here's the thing, Bob. We've heard this too many people are ready, aim, and they've been shot while they're still aiming, right? Folks, we've heard the 80-20 rule used in so many ways in life. It applies here again. When you are 80% prepared, pull the freaking trigger. Okay. You're never going to achieve 100% ready to do anything. So when you're 80% ready, jump in and make it happen. Don't sit there and research this to death. We have to take massive targeted action, and we don't have to be perfectly prepared for everything before we do it.
I don't know. That one to me just like speaks It just is what it says.
Right. There's not much more to say about that one, right? It's go do the big thing that hopefully you were visualizing already earlier that morning, because that was your number one thing for the day that was going to move your world forward.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Bob, keep going. Number 3.
All right. Number 3, they surround themselves with the right influences, people, information. I mean, mainly those 2 things, I think, Chad.
Sure.
People especially, right? Like, gosh, I told my boy got no, I'll use fake names here because I'm talking about children.
We know your kids' names, no?
Well, so I'll use my kids' names, but we got a note yesterday from the teacher, right? And these days, Chad, I don't know if you know how this works, but like every parent is on this text thread. Not that we can text with each other, it's just like notifications come out from your kid's school. And so you're like in a notification and you click and it takes you back to a website and there's a message from their teacher, right? So let me just see what yesterday's message was like. Purple wallet, it did, right? And so I opened it and my kid's in 1st grade and they had like a substitute teacher yesterday or 2 days ago, and her wallet was stolen from the classroom. And so it says like, hey, Mrs. Jones's wallet went missing. And, there's been a couple of times this year where something's gone missing and a hero in quotes has brought it back and it appeared, and maybe we can have a hero bring this wallet back. Right. And so I grabbed my son and I know all his friends' names. Right. So I'm like, Minnie, did you know about this purple wallet? And he's like, yeah, it was, Miss Jones' wallet or whatever. I'm like, who's the most likely kids in class to have taken that wallet if a kid took that wallet? And he said, Billy and Frankie or whatever, right? Which is his 2 like closest friends. And I'm like, are you serious? Like if of anybody in the class that's going to jack this teacher's wallet, the 2 kids you're hanging out with and are like closest friends with are the kids you think would do it. I'm like, we need new friends, bud. Like, that's not good. I think even in 1st grade, like you're hanging out with the kids that are jacking the teacher's wallets. No, like we're moving on to some new friends. This starts early, Chad.
Yeah.
This starts early.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. I got a whole part of Achieve Your Apex where I talk about that. My dad told me after grade 9, he said, you can either be grounded for next year, right? Or you can choose new friends, because the friends that I was with were getting into trouble, were issues with the law, things like that. And thankfully I decided not to be grounded. I chose some new friends who are still my friends today. You're right. And it starts even earlier and earlier, because how many of us have somebody who we went to elementary school with that we're still friends with today? And what's the influence they're going to bring, Bob? And we've talked about this so many times, but I want everyone to remember, right? New England Journal of Medicine actually found, and I love this, Bob, that obesity can actually be considered contagious. Because if a close friend gains weight, you're more likely to gain weight. Right? If you have 5 of your closest friends are all obese, odds are you're going to be the 6th. 5 of you out of shape, odds are you're going to be the 6th. Flip side, 5 are in great shape, odds are you'll be the 6th in that group, because you want to stay connected to the group and the influence they'll bring upon you. Some of it is completely subconsciously happening. Okay. You want to quit smoking? Stop hanging out with the people who are smoking. You want to quit drinking? Stop hanging out with the people who are going to the bar every night to hang out because they want to have drinks. A lot of those choices are choices we're not even knowing we're making, but it's because of the people we're surrounding ourselves with.
I mean, this one almost goes without saying. Like, I don't know. You need explanation. This is we
have to make an episode out of this, Bob. You can't
I'm just I know. I'm just saying it's like,
if you people don't know this by now, I want to come smack you upside the head in the nicest way possible, because yes, Bob, you're right. Yet how many times do we find ourselves blind to it? And we need the outsider sometimes to be able to say, Bob, I think your friend Chad is a bad influence upon you.
Look, I think even leaders have to look at this and say, all right, in my organization, are we surrounding ourselves with the right people? Like, do I have that person in there that's constantly complaining about the job that they're asked to do, right? Are they spreading little seeds of doubt with everybody else? Yeah, I mean, this is a big deal. I think you can one in a coworker environment, Chad. I think one person can like ruin the one rotten apple can spoil the bunch. When you're thinking about it in like a friend group, right? That rotten apple, I guess I'll keep the analogy, that they'll tend to push that one out, right? If you and your four buddies are all, out running every morning, Chad, and I'm the fifth guy in the crew, and I'm not, right? Eventually, you guys are going to find your fifth guy to replace me to go out and run with you. So I think in like our personal lives, the outlier tends to get pushed out, but sometimes in the work environment, that outlier can stay there and start to pollute the other, the other people.
It's a great point, because nobody can push them out except the leader, who has to pay enough attention to realize I've got rotten fruit and it's poisoning everything else in the bunch, right? Yeah. That's a great way you bring that up for everyone to pay attention to it. And in your case, Bob, you're that leader in your son's life.
Yeah.
Right? Because he's going to, maybe he looks up one day and he's pushed out from that group because they're all getting into trouble and he doesn't want to. So they stop including him because they're doing, yet otherwise it's you having to get rid of the bad apple or apples, right, from this bunch and start inviting him to hang out with other friends in that class. So
yeah,
it works on all levels, folks. All right.
Little Jimmy and Frankie, we're
gonna find out your true names one day and come
Jimmy and Frankie.
There you go. All right, number 4, Bob. You're going through these, so tell me what's number 4.
They practice daily gratitude and self-reflection. I think that's a big, like how often are we sitting down, Chad, and kind of taking stock in the things that we could maybe be improving or the things that we're responsible for as a reason for why that thing didn't happen. Self-reflection, that's daily gratitude. He talked about that up top. I mean, a lot of us hopefully are starting our days with things like that. What is, you can't be grateful and angry at the same time? Is that what they say, Chad?
Yep. You can never have two opposing thoughts at the same time. It's not possible. I tell you can't look at a head and tails of a coin at the same time, right? You can't see both sides. You can't be on and off. You can't be negative and positive. So yes, if you're being grateful, you can't be fearful, right? It just doesn't work. Tony's quote says, when you are grateful, fear disappears and abundance appears, right? I mean, Bob, go ahead.
Well, I was just saying, I mean, gratitude is, this goes back to like the ancients, the Stoics, right? Like this has been a driver of positive behavior in humans for as long as we've been recording things.
Yes.
The idea of gratitude.
Yes, absolutely. Right. And folks, every day I would say something I'm grateful for out loud, right? Whether it's a prayer at a meal, you do it that way. Whether it's you start the morning that way. We told you already, start your day with 2 things that you're grateful for that you haven't repeated. I will challenge everybody. I've challenged people to this before. You've heard challenges like this from other people. Get a book and go 1 month without repeating anything you're grateful for. Come up with at least 2 things every day. 3 would be an even bigger challenge. Every morning, write 3 things on a page. You're going to see, I've already listed my wife. I can't list her again. I've already listed that there's a roof over my head. I can't list that again. It'll get challenging near the end of the month. Yet when you are searching for things you're grateful for, you will find things to be grateful for, and it will help you. And then, Bob, so powerful on this. It's not just have that gratitude mindset. It's have the self-reflection. And self-reflection meaning, if we're focused on the gratitude, we're not beating ourselves up on everything that's gone wrong. We're actually looking at the things and saying, hey, here are the things that went right today. Now, I'm not saying we're wearing rose-colored glasses and we just think everything is perfect. Yet we're looking for those things I did right today to build upon them for the next day. Okay, I'm going to recap them. Because I like to recap, even though it's 5 and that's driving me nuts. All right, 1.
I'm going to make you do 5. You have to do 5. Okay, this is a breakthrough episode for you, Chad. We're breaking through.
I'm breaking through. 1, prime your mind for success every morning. Right? You can go back and listen to what we said about that one if you need to. 2, take massive targeted action. 3, surround yourselves with the right influences, people, podcasts like this one, books you're reading, et cetera, et cetera. 4, practice daily gratitude and self-reflection. And Bob, what's the fifth thing Tony had on his list of these 5 daily habits that people who almost always get what they want usually seem to have?
They constantly feed their mind with new perspectives.
Tell me more.
I mean, they're on the lookout for things. Here's how I think about this. I'm constantly trying to look at similar problems from a different angle. Like, I'm constantly trying to go find, how do they do this in a different industry than the one that I'm in? I'm constantly asking myself, like, how is that person investing their money different than the way that I'm doing it? Like, I'm constantly looking for things in my life, Chad, that I'm not doing, and trying to get a better understanding of that thing. Now, I don't know if that's exactly what Tony Robbins is talking about here. Some of the ways I do that, I try once a month to listen to at least 2 episodes of a new podcast. I will read one suggested book to me each month from somebody else, right? I'm trying to get outside of things that I would normally pick, because the things, especially in this world where, the internet, your phone, when you're on a computer, like, you're being served up things reinforcing the things it thinks you want. And so you really do have, even like when I go to my podcast app, like, it's generally things related to the ones I've been watching before. So I'm trying to get like outside of kind of that bubble of what, the internet thinks that I want, to seek out things that are different than the perspective I'm coming from. I've been doing this a little bit recently with politics, right? Like, where I'm like purposely clicking on and reading things that I wouldn't, and it's changing my feed a little bit. So I am getting a more well-rounded feed. So I don't know, like, to me, I just am always looking for a different perspective on something.
I think that's a great way to look at it, Bob. And understand that getting a different perspective doesn't just mean reading another book, because a lot of times we're just going to pull the same thing from it. When we can be focused on growth, on learning, right, we are going to become a better person. I will tell you this: if you need like a project done around the house, don't call me, right? I have my one hammer and my one screwdriver, and if it can't fix the problem, we're screwed together, right? And but that friend that if you picked up the phone and called them, they would come over with a toolkit that has so many tools in it that they've never even used possibly, but they have every tool. Okay, that's the person you want to call, right? That's the guy you want to reach out to. And that's basically, every time you take in something new, it's almost like you get to add a tool to your toolbox, right? We had a bike rack that somebody backed into on my truck and broke the bike rack, so I couldn't get it off. I actually went to the bike shop where we bought it, and they were like, yeah, we can't get it off because we only have one way to do this. I called my contractor who did the redo on our condo. He came over, he looked at it for a second, and he said, let's do this. And he tied a strap around it and drove his truck sideways so it pulled the thing. So then we could loosen it and we could actually take it out. And he had a lot of tools in his toolbox to be able to say which is going to be the best way to get this off. And it's because he's had different perspectives. So he's probably seen this or heard that. Folks, arm yourself with the biggest, fullest toolbox so that whenever you find yourself in a situation, you know the tool you need. And I don't literally mean tools, folks. You get what I'm saying.
Chad, I feel like, I don't know how many episodes are we into this? 400 and some, 389. I don't know. It's a lot of episodes deep. And I feel like this podcast has been an awesome way for me to like feed my mind with new perspectives, right? We get to interview cool people. We get to recap things like your friend, Tony Robbins.
Yes, absolutely.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you doing this, Chad. My piece of gratitude today is you. I'm grateful for you.
Bob, I appreciate that. You're the guy who helped me get through my Tony Robbins wall today because we did a top 5 from Tony Robbins. Maybe, just maybe, I'll pick up a blog post of his or something and read it and keep moving forward. Folks, I want to know if there's somebody in your world that was like Tony Robbins was in mine. Come in the Facebook group. Let me know if there is some actor, actress, speaker, somebody that you just can't watch or listen to anymore for some reason. We want to know who it is for some fun. Join us in the Win, Make, Give Facebook group. It's as easy as that to find it. And until our next episode, as always, do good.